Fun Pop. Fun Pop. Fun Pop.
They made like Turn King or some shit.
Hey, what's up, everybody? We're live, and this is episode number 50. 50 episodes of Fun Pop now. Wow. It's surprising. It doesn't seem like it's been going on that long, but I guess it has. That's almost, because that means we've been doing this show more than a year. Because I know we've missed more than 2 episodes, right?
Oh, we missed quite a bit.
Yeah, we definitely missed quite a bit, especially like a few months ago, like off and on. But yeah, 50 episodes now, Fun Pop. So halfway through to 100. So I want to say thanks to everybody who's been watching this show, and we'll continue to watch the show in the future, and all of our shows on Fun Speculation. I was a little bit late getting stuff set up today. I just walked in the door right before we're supposed to get live, so I apologize to everybody for not sending out notifications and stuff like that early. But we're going to have a fun show because we're going to have a deep dive review, all of that and more on Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, because this was a big time movie, a very important movie, and we can't contain ourselves. I mean, like, what are we supposed to do? Not talk about it? No, we're going to talk about it. And if we talk about it, we're going to spoil stuff. So I have on the screen again a warning, major spoilers. This is going to stay here for the whole damn show. Okay. So if you don't like spoilers, I'm sorry, but it's going to happen. And for anybody watching live or after the fact, this is, if you have seen Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness, please, chime in with comments and everything. Let me know what you thought, if you're on the same kind of page as us or whatnot. We're going to speculate a lot about what this means for the future of the MCU and so on. But as always, thanks to 2 of our amazing panelists for being here. 3-Bit is preoccupied. He couldn't be here today. But we got Psychonauts, the mellow fellow from outer space, Vitamin Boy himself, who has been going through a rabbit hole in the speculation verse himself with this movie after he saw it. So what's up, Psycho? How's it going, man?
Good. Been playing some fucking Division 2 with you guys, as you know. Waiting for the title update and season 9 to come out tomorrow. And I've been playing also Euden
Chronicles. Yeah.
Euden Chronicles Rising. Fun little game. Little Kickstarter that was published by Microsoft, I believe, or Xbox, or today.
They're just in Game Pass, I think. I don't think Xbox published it.
Yeah, it's just in Game Pass.
Or help fund it or something.
No, it's in. The Game Pass deal they made helped get this game created, because it was originally, according to Chris, who's been a big fan of this game and this series that are going to be coming out, this was intended just to be like an episodic type thing, come out as extra content type deal. But because of the Game Pass deal for 100 Heroes, they ended up being able to put more into this, and that's kind of a full-blown thing, right? So now we get this Euden Chronicles, was it Rising or something like that?
Rising.
Yeah, and then next game, I think next year, will be 100 Heroes, which is the main traditional turn-based RPG that's coming out next year. So.
Nice.
But you said you have been playing it, Psycho?
Yeah, I've been playing it yesterday before working, and then this morning, and pretty much all the way up until the podcast.
Right on.
Put some time into
you like it?
So. Yeah, I'm digging it. It's a fun little hack and slash it's a fun little side scrolling game.
Yeah, right on. Then we have the lore master himself, the realist, Jasper. What's up, Jasper? How's it going?
Hey, it's going pretty good. I've been riding your all's back for Division recently. Y'all been running me through the game for
Yeah, it's for
change.
once. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's pretty much what I've been up to. I've just been grinding that today, trying to get caught up for the new season tomorrow or whatever. So
Yeah, we got to get ready for the new season, right? Like, 3-bit too. Like, who can be here? He's trying to get caught up too, but I feel like you're probably already like close to getting past to where he's at. So
yeah, I should be in New York tonight, and I've probably finished that. And then Halo will come out at 3 a.m. when the DLC drops. So I'll download the DLC and watch Halo, and then
right on.
that's what I'll do.
That sounds like a good plan. So is it like 3 tonight when
Yeah, they
season
said
9?
the servers are going to close at 3 a.m. and then when they come back up, it will be live.
Did they say how long they're going to close for?
I don't. They may have. I didn't pay attention to it.
Sometimes the reason I'm asking, sometimes when these games switch seasons, they go for like 8 hours, or sometimes they go for like 30 minutes. You know, it's like hard to say 100%. But shout out to Cam. Thanks for stopping by, dude. Powerman 4K. Saw you here earlier as well. Again, sorry for being late on getting the show started, everybody, and sorry for getting the post out late, but just got home literally like 15 minutes ago, 20 minutes ago. All right, so Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. I guess what we're before we start speculating on like what this means for the MCU and where it's going in the future, I want to get just basically like what you liked about the movie, what you didn't like, overall review scores. And I already have 3-bit score. He was nice enough to send me his score for the game. Sub Trinity, how's it going? So I guess we'll start with Psycho. Now remember, what I want to do here is just let's figure out like what our impressions are of the game, of the movie, right? I keep saying game, of the movie, and then we'll get into all the other stuff because I know you got a lot to add on that, later on.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to go too much into it because there's just so much, because this is not everything, there's King the Conqueror is also involved, and that's not including. I haven't even gone down that fucking rabbit hole. So
yeah,
you got a lot of holes to go down, don't you?
Yeah, you got. There's a lot of holes.
A lot of holes.
I
holes.
Gotta fill. More than 3.
I mean, go down.
Wait, what? So Psycho. What is your overall like impression of this movie? Where does this fit in for you with the MCU as far as like your review?
From when I was watching it, it was because we only speculated seeing. Okay, spoiler alert. All right, because
it's on the screen. Like anybody watching right now, they can see major spoilers.
Yeah. So Reed Richards, Mr. Fantastic, shows, and it was speculated, but we weren't 100% because they were very tight-lipped about it. And when he just like elasticated coming down from the ceiling, elasticated when he came down, I was just like, holy shit. And then hearing Professor Xavier's what was it, the animated series theme playing when he was scooting along, rolling in.
Yeah
it was one of those moments. I mean, at the theater, I was just like, I was like, yes, and like the fanboy that we are, I was excited, and it was. I liked it. It was a good movie. It was because I saw a lot of people like, oh, this is Doctor Strange is playing second fiddle to his own movie, and I'm like, I mean, there was a lot going on because you had to tell Wanda's side and the events and the things that she was going through, and then you had what was going on and what was happening with Doctor Strange, and then I mean, the movie started off with the Defender Strange in the comics, which was like, okay, I was like, I when I watched it, I was like, the hell is this? As I went back and looked into what, because that Doctor Strange looked different, found out it was Defender Strange, and I was like, oh, okay. So, and that's where my rabbit hole started going, looking into the Defender and Defender Strange, and then all this other stuff. So, it was really interesting how they went about this movie, uh, throwing Easter eggs in there for really people that had to know the follow the comics to kind of pick up on it. And the little bit that I did know about with the Marvel Universe, I was very intrigued. It really picked up from WandaVision, of course. Uh, Going down that fucking rabbit hole, finding out this whole thing with Agatha and Cthulhu, or not Cthulhu, Cathon, and uh, so many, and what's his name, Magneto being a father, and all this other stuff. Like, so with all that I've already experienced watching this movie, I was like, holy crap, you know, there. I was like, this is setting up so much stuff, and I was really freaking excited. I was I was enjoying myself watching the movie. Really liked it. Um, but there was a couple spots that, there was a little bit too heavy on the American Chavez, but I guess they're trying to introduce a new character, so they had to give her the spotlight a little bit. But other than that, I mean, it wasn't too bad. It was a good mix of Doctor Strange, Wanda, with American Chavez, and everything else that was going on. So it was really cool.
With score,
I would give this. And watching it initially at 8.5.
okay. And like, where
but
does this fit in? Like, top? Is it like a top 10 MCU, top 5 MCU, top 20? Like, where does it fit in? Like, for you with the MCU movies, you think?
knowing with the rabbit hole that I went down, knowing what this set up, it's definitely in the top 5.
Okay.
It's one of those movies that set up. It's kind of like the Avengers movie that's setting up, the whole Infinity Stones saga per se. So it's like one of those key movies that really set and have the layout for this next saga.
Right. Okay. Right on. So very important movie, basically. Right. So
yeah, pretty much. It is very important.
Jasper. Now, I know, like, you have very reserved your comments completely, almost. You know, like, I honestly, I know that you said you have a lot to say about it, but I don't really know why you said that. Like, is there like something that you felt like that you didn't like, or is that you're like over the moon for this? Like, I don't know. It could go both ways.
Like, starting out was just like leading up to the release of this movie. I feel like they teased Patrick Stewart when they should have teased maybe Mr. Fantastic to have that bigger surprise, like while you're watching the movie, like instead of showing actual Patrick Stewart, even though it's not the same one from the X-Men universe that we know from the Fox universe. It's a different Patrick Stewart X-Men. So like it still would have been like a major, like, oh my God, it's Patrick Stewart when you're watching the movie.
Yeah.
But so it was kind of ruined. I felt like the pacing was a little off in this movie. Like, it was like slow and then it like sped up real quick, and then you would get like a really slow part, and then it was like they kind of like rushed the end. That's how I kind of felt the pacing was off with the movie.
Right.
And I feel like with Wanda, they broke like how powerful all the characters are, because she just like went in there and like murdered everyone. It's like you couldn't do that. It just kind of broke every other movie, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
So now, overall though, like, what would you give it like as a score for you, and like where does it rank for you? Like
7 out of 10.
7? So is it a top 10, top 5, top 20?
It's like close to the top 10. It's not in the top 10.
Okay, so maybe like top 15-ish or so.
Yeah.
Right. When there's like only like 25, 20, or 28, 29 movies now, probably something like that. I don't know exactly how many, but so you're saying in like maybe around the middle of the pack, right?
Basically. Yeah, above the middle, just slightly.
Just above the middle?
Like,
okay.
Yeah.
Like a better than like a Black Widow or like a Thor: Dark
Yeah.
World or okay.
Oh, definitely. Thor: Dark World's like number 28.
Right on.
I did the thing I wish they did
29
more
Alvin
was
says.
like
Right on.
the thing I wish they did more was like go through different universes like more instead of just like they went through like we had the normal universe and then the one they went
Yeah.
to and they kind of spent a long time there. I wanted to see more multiverses, but
Yeah.
I mean, if the movie was longer than the 2 hours, we could have definitely have gone through multiple universes and kind of touched on it. I'm assuming that they are probably going to have a show.
with American Chavez where she travels and looks for her parents or some shit.
Yes, and
Yeah.
that's where it's going to touch on the different universes. Because this universe, the universe that they were in was the animated series of X-Men. So that universe, I don't know what Earth that was.
8-6
8181 something.
816. I know the MCU universe is 616. I can't
Yeah,
remember what.
that's the main.
Yeah.
It was 8 something. Yeah, so that was like the animated series. That's why they had the yellow floaty wheelchair,
Yeah.
and that has all your favorite X-Men there, Mav. So everyone
And they're all dead now because
Yeah.
WandaVision came in there and
838
That's
Alvin says. Thanks,
Yeah.
Alvin. Appreciate you. So okay, for me, right? Like, I loved the movie. So, I kind of almost got in a debate with our DMs because like I was coming across, I think, that I didn't like the movie, but I really liked the movie, right? For me,
yeah,
like
I like the movie. Like I know I said
Yeah.
a bunch of
Yeah.
negative stuff, but it's like
yeah, I mean, there's a
like
lot
the
of great
movie.
things about the movie. I love
Yeah.
like Doctor Strange is really different. I like the dark elements they put in there with him and with Wanda, right?
Her crawling out of the mirror or the gong or whatever was like
Yeah.
straight out of the Evil
Right?
Dead. Love that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, there's like so much cool stuff they added into it. Now, some of that got a little cheesy at times, right? Like the scene where they're battling with the music notes.
I hated that scene.
I was like, okay, that's cool, but would he really be doing this? Like, why was he have to use music notes? Now, it made it for a cool scene, but it seems like that's kind of more Sam Raimi just playing with cinematography as opposed to it actually servicing the story, right? Which I think that kind of happened throughout the movie a little bit. There's other times, for example, when they were going through the different multiverses, and shifting through them all, and like they had the paint universe, like then they had like the one that was actually animated and things like this.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's just playing with cinematography more than anything. It doesn't actually, they're not going to actually have this like paint verse in any kind of comic book or whatever where they're all made out of liquid. I mean, this doesn't, unless it actually exists, I don't know, but it just didn't really service the story. It just seems like something that was really cool for him to get to put, oh, that's going to look great on the screen and going to be fun. You know what I mean? Which is cool. I like when directors do that kind of stuff. It just, when it's like something like the MCU and we're already kind of like, it seems like kind of playing with something necessarily doesn't need to be played with. You know what I mean?
Like I would have liked to have seen him like go to like another universe for like say it's like a Lego universe where they're all like Legos and then like a car's like they spawn in the middle of the street and like a car's coming at him, so they like quickly teleport out of that universe and then to another one. Like
Right.
I think that would have been better instead of just like falling
Yeah.
through like 20 universes.
Right. I just, again, the 3-bit, like I get you the music notes. It was awesome. It's awesome to see that, but I'm putting myself in Doctor Strange that I know is perspective. And like from everything we know about Doctor Strange, he's not gonna be like, "Ooh, music notes. I'm gonna use those as a weapon."
And he wouldn't
start
use the
this
same music notes for the half of the battle. It's like he would use like a different spell. Like it was
it made for a badass scene, cinematography wise, right? It just doesn't service the story and what we know of the characters, right? It's kind of like a playful thing. So that was cool, and like those were the kind of some of the things that got off track for like the movie for me. It kind of like didn't fit. Right?
Yeah, it kind of pulled me out.
Right. It was more of like Raimi like showing off, right? In those instances, instead of like, okay, this is an important scene. It was distracting more than it was servicing. Right? Yeah, okay, so but like in Doctor Strange, we know, like, I get he does crazy stuff, but like, okay, in that moment, when he can just whip out spells that we know from all the MCU things out of thin air, like really powerful stuff, does he need to use music notes? You know, because he sees them on a page, like, you know, I don't know. It just didn't really
And
fit.
if he would have like, my problem with that is like the entire battle is music notes. Like I wanted different spells in there instead of just music notes flying at each other the whole time. You know?
Right,
It's
right,
like,
yeah. But it was amazing battle scene. It was
yeah.
cool, right? It was definitely really cool and something that you can watch and be like, oh wow, that was really cool. Like, you know, they had the whole like
That was
Mozart,
just
Beethoven type thing, you know, in that scene, you know. But
yeah.
yeah, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say that was just like a Sam Raimi thing.
Yeah,
That's all that was.
exactly. You can watch the movie and be like, oh, this is just Sam Raimi making this a Sam Raimi thing.
Yeah.
Right? As opposed to Sam
He wanted
Raimi.
to put a touch.
Yeah,
Use
just like
his
the
own touch.
stupid Bruce Campbell cameos. You know what I mean? Like I get it, you know, but for the
No,
I'm sorry, but for
no.
the second end
You want
credit
some
scene
pizza
to make us
balls?
15 minutes
Pizza balls.
just to see him like stop punching his face. Like, okay, I get it. You know, like I Evil Dead fans, great. I know Sam Raimi fans, great. He's a cameo in every single movie, but to like, which I was expecting at some point, don't make it the second end credit scene. Come on, you know what I mean? Like that, I felt like a waste of time sitting there for after the 15 minutes or so waiting for that. But anyway, besides that aspect, like overall, like Scarlet Witch was a badass in this movie. I absolutely like this was a star of the show. Elizabeth Olsen had like her best performance, one of her best performances maybe ever, and like her best MCU performance for sure in this movie. And the overall story arc of like doing this for your children and like even some of the lines that she delivered in there was like, isn't that what every mother does or something like that when talking about creating the kids out of magic? You know what I mean? Like there's like little like dialogue and delivery aspects that she had that were just like amazing.
Someone hasn't had the birds and the bees talk.
Yeah.
But like as far as like as she goes, I mean she stole the show for sure. Doctor Strange and Zombie Strange was like absolutely amazing. Spoiler alert.
That hallway scene when she was like chasing him down the tunnel under the river. Like,
that was badass.
It was like straight out of a horror movie.
Yeah, I didn't mind America Chavez because I feel like she was like a key part of it, but it wasn't like she stole the show or anything or like was like overly like in like too much of a focus. It was about setting up her character and for a purpose. Like I feel like her character in this really served a purpose, right? With why Scarlet Witch needed her and what the whole goal was. And she was a scared kid and then kind of came into her own at the end. So I kind of liked her arc as well. Doctor Strange had a great arc in it as well for like his story from beginning to end, and setting things up. So overall, like, overall character wise, they nailed it. Like just Sam Raimi kind of playing with things at times kind of just didn't fit. Although the stuff that he did do just throughout the movie, like without trying to show off too much, made it for a better movie, I think, than it would have been otherwise, like the horror elements and all this stuff, right? So I'm glad he did this movie, right? Because I would it's a fine trade-off for me, right? I would rather have what we got, the good stuff from it, and then not have the bad. But 100% I'm on the same page with Jasper here, and this was my biggest flaw with the entire movie, is two aspects regarding the Illuminati, okay? They should not have teased that at all in the trailers, right? Because I saw it coming. We knew it's like, okay, who are they going to show, right? It was cool when they showed Reed Richards and his John Krasinski game. Like, hell yeah, now we know who we're getting for Mr. Fantastic, and this is going to be amazing. And, you know, like, I love the casting, and this is going to be super great. But when they showed, like, Patrick Stewart, it had, like, no payoff for me. And it was supposed to be a huge payoff in that scene. You can tell, because they even had the X-Men theme song go, do-do-do-do-do. And I was like, wow, that's cool. But like they showed those characters, they all kind of had their little 5 minutes, and then they show up for the fight and they just die within seconds. And it's like, okay, that's cool. I understand that Scarlet Witch is that powerful, right? But you are also making all of those other characters bitches and very unpowerful in that moment. And it kind of makes anything they do with those characters seem like, well, I guess they're worthless now in every other universe now because they can't even like last 5 seconds against Scarlet Witch, right? And how many Scarlet Witches are there out there? A lot. Well, you know, maybe none of them are gonna have the Dark Hold now, right? Spoiler alert again. None of them are gonna have the Dark Hold now, but still, like,
Yeah, well,
we
there's a thing about that.
so I just feel like that whole scene was a wasted opportunity. It was a complete waste opportunity from the moment they teased it up until how they pulled off the fight scene. Because I mean, Mr. Fantastic, all he did, that was his fight. You know,
String cheese.
yeah,
He just
that was his fight. Like
Yeah.
he literally just did this. You know,
Well-
cool, Mr. Fantastic, one of the most powerful superheroes out there, one of the smartest man in the universe, can't do anything against Scarlet Witch except reach out his damn arm. You know, like, and we see Doctor Strange
Yeah.
like last the entire movie, and America Chavez last the whole movie running from her. You know, and then we have
That
Black Bolt
when,
didn't even
like,
get an
I was
opportunity
like,
to fight.
holy shit,
That was
when
crazy.
happened.
That was badass. I have to say that was badass. I don't give a damn about Black Bolt to begin with, so when his head popped off, I was like, okay, yeah, that's fine. But when you had like Captain Carter just get like shield cap,
lasted longer than Mr. Fantastic. It's like,
Yeah.
what the fuck?
Captain Carter like got just annihilated and like got split in half, and then Captain Marvel, the other Captain Marvel, she kind of put up a fight a little bit, but still not too much. And then and then Patrick Stewart, Professor Xavier, like she got his like snapped his neck through him interfering with his head with her head.
Yeah.
Like I didn't really understand how that worked, but also like besides Jean Grey, is any mutant supposed to be more powerful psychologically than Professor X? So
Well,
I don't know. They threw off some things in there that kind of like were like just to show off how powerful she was, but at the expense of other heroes that we love. And now I think maybe she should have beat these characters right in this movie, because that's how demented and dark and big time she was. She's like one of the most powerful out
maybe
there.
have the fight last
But
longer
maybe
than
have
3 seconds for each
have
character.
the fight last. Give them at least a little moment each of some kind of like badassness, or make them seem bigger than what they were made out to be. Because now it's like, well, we know Professor X exists in every universe, and he's going to look like Patrick Stewart, right? Because that's what they all kind of do, right? Now, as far as he goes, we know he's not all that powerful compared to her now, right? And we know that Reed Richards can't really do shit against her. So how are they going to fare against the bigger baddies? That are going to be even farther along in this phase. So I don't know.
That's the thing. That's the thing. Like the Reed Richards' son, Frank Richards, was I think it's her son or father, or his father. Fuck, I think Frank Richards is like the most strongest and powerfulest human behind the Beyonder in the MCU, and he's able to go toe to toe with Scarlet Witch. So,
But see, I'm just like thinking, like at this point, like if we get to like a Galactus fight, like 10 years from now or whatever, like if we still have like Falcon flying around, like okay, he's dead in 3 seconds. What's the point of even having him in the show?
Exactly.
Anymore?
Like all these
Well-
heroes stood up to Thanos better. You know what I mean? And like lasted like a really long time. They maybe had their losses and stuff like this, and some characters died and all this kind of stuff, right? But like everybody put up a fight. You know what I mean? Like this was like no fight. There was like 4-on-1,
Yeah.
and there was like
Well-
it was like a bunch of adults showing up to a kid's playground and just
I
beating
know.
the shit out of them. You know what I mean? Like
that is the point of showing how powerful Scarlet Witch is, not Wanda.
right. I understand
And
that.
that was the
I
thing.
get it. I get that.
So that's
I
like
get it.
Superman coming into in the world and decided to go evil and like injustice, and he's going to do the same exact thing. He's going to go through everyone.
Yeah, but
like
I mean,
that.
like Hulk has smashed planets, and he couldn't even beat Thanos.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, Hulk was, I don't know. It wasn't their Hulk, so it was Universal's Hulk.
Yeah,
That's
I
why
I like Sam Raimi went for the all powerful Scarlet Witch, and they showed how powerful she is. I just still with that, you still could have done better justice to the other characters in that fight. Even in the comics, like they don't
Yeah,
just like
okay.
go
It's
through and
okay.
just kill everybody like within a second, except unless
No, yeah, no.
you know.
I get they should have lasted, a little bit longer than they did. The thing with
It made for a scene
Xavier
that
though,
that I should have loved, into a scene that like was the worst part of the movie for me. Right?
yeah, if you were like fans of all the characters that died, yes, it
I mean,
was
like, I
one of those like, what
understand,
the
like, the
fuck?
power levels, like, this is how it should happen if they actually fought. It's kinda like what they went for, like, if these characters would actually fight, this is how it would go down, like, they would be dead in 3 seconds, but, like, for a movie, like, in a cinematic universe, it just kinda
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, like I forget, I don't know who that pronounces his name, but he said
Gogol
that they kind
Poe.
of do that, and they kind of do that in the
Yeah, and I'm
comics,
not to be frank, I'm
Ultimate
not a
Universe.
comic guy. I'm familiar with the
So
comics, but I'm not like super into the
that would
comics, right?
make
I'm more into the
sense
MCU.
if they do that with alternate universes in the comics. That would make sense why they would do it in the movie in the alternate universe. Because I was very surprised, like that they didn't even have Iron Man there, because there was a sixth chair, or was it 5 or 6 chairs? 6 chairs, and one of them was empty, and that to
that was
me,
for, gr the green guy, the Doctor Strange's bad guy from the first movie, the Morris or whatever his name, the black dude in
oh
the green, suit.
yeah,
Something with
yeah,
an
yeah,
M, I can't think of his name.
yeah, Morton,
Mordo?
Mordo, something like
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Okay, because Iron Man wasn't in there, but you saw Iron Man's fingerprints all over with the
Century
Ultron
bots,
robots
yeah.
and uh, just everything that it had. There was a lot of little Iron Man, so that also sets up like who's going to take over Iron Man, because we heard Tom Cruise was going to be Iron Man in this, and he was actually had, like, Marvel went out to get Tom Cruise to be Iron Man in this movie, but because of COVID and all that, and him shooting, I think his next
Mission Impossible or whatever.
Mission Impossible, he just couldn't do it, and with Top Gun on top of that, so he just couldn't do it. So like that's why we didn't really have an Iron Man in that universe. So it it's just, I do agree, they should have kept them and be able to put up a fight longer, except for Xavier. Like, Xavier went into her mind, and 'cause she's able to, you're in her mind, so she was able to uh catch on, and then in the real world snap his neck, and that's what happened. It wasn't like she snapped his neck while it was, he was in her head. She noticed that, she's like, who the hell is in here, and then she figured out who it was, and just snapped his neck out in the real world. They just didn't show it that way, but
Interesting.
it should have been longer.
Yeah. I overall though, like I said, like great movie for me. Jasper gave it a 7. I would give it an 8.
Yeah,
I think that I would give it a 9 if it wasn't for that scene and the other little Raimi elements that kind of threw me off a bit, right? Now, again,
yeah,
there's a lot of the other Raimi elements that made it really good, the dark, a lot of the dark stuff, but then some of it became a little distracting too, right? So, um, I would say an 8, and this is probably like top. I'm with Jasper; it's like a top 15, but like regardless of that, I feel like it's one of the more important MCU movies, and I feel like there's no reason that, like, this is not like, it's not like it's a criticism like, oh, that was a bad movie. I mean, it was a great freaking movie. Just the damn MCU movies are so freaking good most of the time. You know what I mean? It's got a lot to live up to. So when something kind of like seems a little off, it like stands out to me. It's like, oh, they could have done that better. I'm not used to saying that a lot and thinking that a lot during these movies, right? And some of the better ones. This one was so good that those moments stood out too
Yeah.
much for me, right? Like it was like, okay, kind of jumped off, like it was great, and then it's like, oh, that's didn't fit, or that was distracting,
That's
and it
why
kind
I
of
felt like the pacing was kind of off with it,
yes.
right,
because you just had those good moments, and it was just like, what the fuck?
yeah. So for me, 8. Jasper says a 7. Psycho says 8.5. 3-bit was an 8.5 as well. That's the same thing. He DM'd me, so I know that's accurate. Cam with the 7.5, right on. That seems fair. Like I coming away from it though, the funny thing is like I feel like I want to go see it again. And I don't have this feeling as much like with the MCU movies like right after.
You just feel like you missed something.
Exactly, 100%, dude. I feel like there's
There
stuff here
is a lot
that I
going on.
missed, right?
There is a lot going on. Like little things.
Yeah, and
I'll
it's
send
those
you
little things. I feel like I missed some things, and I need to go back and watch it and experience it again because the one as I think this movie is going to get better with age too because I feel like there's things in here.
Yeah, once they start going through the multiverse and explaining that more,
We're going to
through the other
appreciate it
movies.
more later on too. You know what I mean? Alvin says 9, but again, Alvin's biased. It said for because Doctor Strange. The Gogol says the ending is a cliffhanger. Cam says he'll Disney Plus it when it comes back out. Yeah, I want to see it with Kate because I was telling her about it, and I'm like, man, just telling her about everything that happened, it sounds so badass, you know? And it was, but she's kind of interested, so I'm gonna take her to see it.
She might like it to see those people die so quickly.
Well, I think she'll like the motherhood aspects too of like everything she's going through for her children.
To kill anything for her children.
Well, we already know that's her MO,
Sounds
right? Like
familiar.
Yeah, exactly.
I wonder where that came.
So it's kind of like it's hard. The other magic thing that they're able to do with this, like Scarlet Witch can do all these horrible things, like at the expense of whatever, but still make her like a likable character, right? Because she's doing it for purposes that you see like, well, I understand. You know what I mean? Like you can kind of understand where she's coming from, and they're kind of always been toting that line with her. And she's like always on the edge, you know, like she's suffered more than almost any of the heroes. She doesn't get the credit like any of the other heroes do, you know, because people are scared of her, right? It was like she gives that line, right? It's like when you break the rules, you're a hero. When I break the rules, you know, everybody hates me or whatever she said. You know, it's like, how's that fair? It's she's suffered a lot through this, and you kind of get like her motivations. And then at the end, again, she ends up doing the right thing, although she did a lot of bad things. So with how it ended, though, like here's something that you told me, Psycho, that I can't get out of my head. Is maybe there was something I missed when she got brought down the dark hold on top of her, right? Like you said that maybe there was like some kind of a flash or something that I didn't see it.
So at that scene where she's sitting there going to bring down the dark hole, the temple down, so no one could get into, to do this again where they are.
Right.
As she's bringing it all down and everyone leaves, you see just
cool.
He's leaving you.
That's like another cliffhanger, man. I can't take these cliffhangers.
It goes and you see this freaking red light just blip,
right?
And then and then it just comes then it pans away, because in Marvel movies, if you do not see a body, that character is not dead.
Right, just like when Wong fell off the cliff, and then you find out later somehow he's hanging by his magic whip.
Yes. If you do not see a body, the character is not dead. So what I was telling Mav, now I thought it was Mephisto because of the children, but going down the rabbit hole today.
See, I was thinking that with the demons that Doctor Strange summoned, like Mephisto's gonna be like, oh, my demons aren't working or some shit, so he's gonna come out and like try to figure out what's going on.
What the rabbit hole I went down today, pointing it out that those demons were actually KhAos demons, and KhAos is he's the one that gave Scarlet Witch her chaos power, her powers. He gave it to her so he can control her and use her to piggyback and come into to the Earth realm, the human realm, and take over the universe.
And see when Chavez was like trying to push Scarlet Witch out of the universe. Like there was that lava planet. It was like, is that hell? Is that where Mephisto lives?
Yes, that
Well,
because Mephisto is the devil. That's Mephisto.
that character is supposedly made the Darkhold, right?
Yes, Chthon.
So,
CTHON.
yeah, CHTHON. Chthon. Is it Chthon or Chthon? Right?
Chthon. I hear people pronounce it Chthon, so that's why if they're saying it, I'm gonna say it.
Yeah, and what Alvin says, Wong even name drops him to Wanda early on. So it's definitely Chthon.
Yeah.
Chthon, Chthon. I don't know how to pronounce it. I gotta have to go back and watch.
And look at people in chat, if you're not sure who that is, look him up and go down this rabbit hole I went down. And holy fuck, are you going to be like, are you fucking watch this movie again? They always sit there and they talk about the divergence. Incursions, sorry, thank you. Incursions. And what incursions is in the comics is time runs out. That's whole story. So they're setting shit up that is going to freaking really be really nice. And that's why this movie was important, because it's setting up the saga, the footsteps that's going to happen in the saga.
Right.
And don't forget, we got the King Wars on top of it too. So how the fuck is Marvel? And right now, what it looks like, because they got the ultimate dimensions, they got alternate universes and different timelines. I think they're all going. Marvel has, and I think they're going to clean it up and just call it one thing. Either they're going to call it alternate timelines, alternate universes, or dimensions. They're going to pick one of those and kind of keep it simple enough for fans that they're casual fans, they kind of follow through. Because if we got so many things, it's like that one Always Sunny in Philadelphia, the guy sitting there with the fucking
the wires.
Yeah, he's all over it. He's just like, listen, they don't want that kind of story plot to kind of be how that's how you're gonna have to follow this, because really that's really what it is. Because the timeline is all fractured. The universes, the dimensions are on. They're ready to freaking just explode and just merge, and it's insane.
Yeah. I just hope that this isn't the last we see of Scarlet Witch for a while, but it may be. We may not see her till later.
She'll come back in like Secret Wars or some shit.
Yeah, I don't know if they're setting up the stuff with like the demons for like some of this other supernatural shows, right? Because with the demons and stuff, you could go into like, okay, now we got to go to people that know how to deal with this shit more, right? Yes. You're gonna get maybe
the Black Knight,
that kind of stuff, right?
Yes.
So
get the supernatural.
They're starting to set some of that up. Maybe that's kind of setting up the end credit scene from Eternals and into this. You know what I mean? An end credit scene with this, and start setting up that supernatural verse, right? That's more.
Well, maybe if the Darkhold is destroyed, maybe like the demons and shit that were contained within that are like released, and Blade has to come out and take care of them or something.
Potentially, I mean, but she had some that went inside of her too, right? Just like Doctor Strange did, because I remember it went into her eye. You could see him floating in like her eyeball and stuff,
Yeah, those little demons.
So I don't know what happened to those. Like there was some that were outside of her, but there was some that were inside of her as well, right? So
yeah, that too.
And I think not all of those left Doctor Strange either, because we saw at the end, after the end credit scene or whatever, like you see that third eyeball pop up, which I don't know. Like again, I'm not a big comics guy, but I don't know if that's normal for the comics for this Doctor Strange. But
it's called something special. I forgot what it's called, but
the third eye,
something special. Yeah, something
winky. I don't know, like
not the eyeball itself, but that kind of style of Doctor Strange is called something.
Right.
Oh,
I can't think what
it looks kind of stupid. I don't
know.
It's fine or whatever. I'm sure it's going to come in handy. You know, I don't know.
Is it Clea?
CLEA?
Yeah, CLEA came in at the end, right?
That is fucking Doctor Strange's fucking woman.
Yeah, in the comics they get married, and that's also Dormammu's niece.
Yeah, and Dormammu and like the eyeball squid monster that was
attacking the city.
Yeah, but I forget the name. It starts with an S.
Squiddy.
Who that was supposed to be in the comics was Dormammu was his student learning magic. So he was like uber powerful, but I forget Marvel doesn't have the rights to him for some reason.
Uh-huh.
They didn't. Yeah.
Okay, you're back now. You're back. So they don't have the rights. Okay, never mind. We'll let Psycho's connection get worked out. So, are you familiar with like what's the universe that they were going in? What Dormammu has again? Where Dormammu's from?
The Dark World or the Dark Dimension?
I think. Yeah, Dark Dimension. I think that's what it's called. Alvin says Shuma Gorath. That's right. Shuma Gorath. It wasn't that like in Marvel versus Capcom, Shuma Gorath in one of them or something?
I think so.
Yeah, I remember.
Dormammu was his student.
Okay.
He's like uber powerful, but he looks exactly like him, but they couldn't use him. That's why they used Giggle Monster or whatever the fuck it was called.
Giggle Monster?
Giggle Monster.
Yeah, that is Shuma Gorath. Okay.
Definitely, it's a nice little throwback. That's all.
Right. So yeah, we're gonna see more of that, but like it definitely set up. Okay, now at the end of this, now Doctor Strange is going to be trying to go and take out Dormammu
again, or help Dormammu. Maybe something's happening where Dormammu's like, oh shit, I need help.
That third eye, what happens is that he's now holding on to his humanity because that's how he goes down to the dark path of being the sinister Strange, and
where things got out of hand.
He's losing his humanity with that because he just reading anything from the Darkhold book, that's just what happens. So now his wife Claire,
well, they're not married yet.
His
Claire, she, and if you notice, she looked at him with the third eye and was like, cool.
At first, when she came in, I was like, is that fucking Psylocke? But it's like,
right. I feel like she may already have had a relationship with Doctor Strange, a different version of him in another universe. Because she went to him specifically, already knew where to go. Like, hey, I need your help. Like there was.
I mean, since she's Dormammu's niece, maybe Dormammu's like, hey, go to this Doctor Strange, like, and he'll help you or whatever. So
right,
yeah, because there's another divergence now, or
incursion.
Yeah, like she came in as like you caused an incursion, and it's like
So because of whatever happened when he went there in the first Doctor Strange movie, something happened in that universe that now he has to write. So I don't know if because he sent those guys. I don't know what happened. Or the time loop fucked with the universe. Something happened.
I think it said if like one person stays in another universe for too long, it can cause an incursion. And they were in the Earth 838 for like quite some time. So I'm assuming that caused an incursion in another universe, and that's what they're going to go fix.
Yeah, and he was over in the dark universe in the first movie for a long time, just doing the loop over and over and over without him knowing what was actually happening.
Right. So Vic says she didn't come from another universe, but from another dimension. That makes sense too. Yeah. Like it's just hard to keep up with this shit
because it's a dark dimension. It's not a universe.
Right. So the dimensions are within the universes individually. So you have individual universes that have individual dimensions within them, And the MCU encompasses all those universes that have all those different dimensions. So you got infinite possibilities, right?
And timelines.
Right.
Yeah.
And now it shows why the whole damn Infinity Stones were like so insignificant to the
Either that or the Defender Strange,
Yeah.
since he came into Earth 616, like he's like his corpse is in that, so maybe that causes an incursion.
Yeah, because Defender Strange is part of the Secret Wars.
Yeah.
well
And
now
then
he's
also-
dead. So
Well, he
and-
got possessed, and the demons came as like, you're not supposed to possess dead bodies, so maybe that's where it comes from too.
yeah.
a lot of things are happening.
So yeah, Defender Strange is dead though. Now, I mean, he's like half
Yeah,
of his face
that-
is missing.
That dimension, Doctor Strange, or universe.
That universe is
Universe.
strange. So Defender, the one you're calling Defender Strange is dead.
Yeah,
I don't
Yeah.
know which Earth he's from.
They didn't say that's.
They didn't
they
say.
didn't
unknown.
mention. I don't
Um,
believe they mentioned. That was just right off the rip too.
Yeah.
And then the other Strange, that was evil, right? But I don't know. We don't know which Earth they went to, but that one was already suffering an incursion, right? Because you saw the worlds
Well,
being
I
ripped
think
into
he
itself.
just took over the world because he used the Darkhold too much. I think that's what that was. He like destroyed his own universe because he was using the Darkhold too much.
But I think when they said that, like, I see why they're worried about the incursion. Like they said that line when they were in there,
Oh,
right? And it was like two worlds collapsing into each other, kind of at the time.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
yeah, go ahead.
No, I was going to say because that's what they're with an incursion that occurs. That's the like two dimensions
the
come
universe
in-
collapses on
Co-
itself.
on itself and two come in, and that's when I think that's what that line was about. Like, oh, that's what they meant about the incursion. We don't want this. So he's seen it firsthand what an incursion could happen to their universe. So I think that's what that line was. It was more like, oh shit, let's not do this.
Yeah.
And then goes back and tells the Avengers, don't fucking fuck with time, all right? We can't go down this quantum,
Don't go into other
back
universes.
in the past.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how can America Chavez get away with it so much?
Because she's not from a universe.
Right.
She's the only one.
Yeah.
So she can hop freely, but anybody she brings along with her is a danger to that universe, basically. Okay.
Yeah.
Makes sense. So
Which then points the question, how are they going to bring other characters? Because we all thought, oh, they could just bring another character into this universe from another universe. But
now that kind
if
of
they do that,
axes that out, right?
exactly. So now so we might not get another Captain America or Steve Rogers Captain America. We might not get a Gamora, well, not Gamora, not Scarlet, goddamn, Black Widow. Shit, Black Widow. We might not get a Black Widow.
I feel like they could bring back Black Widow within that world, though, and within that Earth. I don't think they
But
have
how
to go
though?
to another universe to bring her back.
But how are you going to bring her back if she died from the Soul Stone?
Time?
The Soul. That was the one thing. If you notice, when it went back in time, there was I don't know there was a
Because
Was there a Black
if
Widow?
Gamora exists, then Black Widow can't exist. Gamora came back because she traveled back forward through time with Thanos, with the old Thanos, right? So Gamora was trapped in the Soul Stone. If they go back in time, they should be able to retrieve Black Widow, because that would be the same situation that happened with Gamora.
Then Gamora now fucks with that. Could be an incursion all over because.
But that's not an
Well,
incursion.
That's
because
to do with time.
That's time. That's not a different universe, right?
Yeah.
So this is
So that was a different time. Oh, because they went in the past. And shit.
Yeah, they went.
They brought her from the past to the future.
Yeah, they traveled. They navigated
Okay,
the
then
quantum
that's
realm, right, to
Okay, that's
travel
different.
backwards into time, and they stole the Infinity Stones from the past.
I feel like what they're doing with the universes is they're doing it like the classic time thing, where like if you go back in time, you can't meet yourself because you'll like fuck up the future of time. They're kind of doing that premise, but with universes and
Yeah, but now Gamora's there, so
Yeah.
because there's no future Gamora for her to run into, right? So they could potentially, if they wanted to, for me, if they wanted to make it happen, like Yelena, the new Black Widow. I see your comment, Chris. Yeah, Yelena's supposed to be the new Black Widow, and who knows if they can figure out a contract with Scarlett Johansson, or Scarlett Johansson ever wants to come back to Disney after the whole thing that happened. But like, if she did, I would think that how they would resolve that is they would just go traverse the quantum realm again and go back in time, because they know how to do it now that time travel is possible. All they need is PIM particles and the quantum realm technology that that Tony Stark figured out with Bruce Banner and Ant-Man, right? So when they figured that whole situation out, they were able to go back into time. Thanos and them used that and went forward into time, right? And that's how the whole Endgame fight started. And if Gamora and them all came, and everybody else in that army came from back in time, right? Then why couldn't why can't Black Widow? Because Gamora also was trapped in the Soul Stone, right?
Yeah. So you are correct then. I kind of forgot about that whole they went back in time to get Gamora. That's how Gamora came into it.
Yeah, I mean, she was. Remember when she came forward with him, she was like with Thanos on his side at that point. And then when she got there, she saw what was going on and flipped in the middle of the battle. And she's like, "Wait, like what's going on?" You know, like so.
Well, her sister, she saw the message from her sister, and then that's kind of when she started like. So
because she was already having those thoughts of betraying Thanos.
Yeah,
and that's how we got the whole Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 1.
And I think the next Guardians movie they're going to be looking for Gamora because they don't know where she went, probably, right? Like I feel like she's out there now, like, and they don't know where she, because she kind of disappeared after the movie.
She was with him, wasn't she? She just didn't. She wasn't in love with Chris Pratt because they didn't have that connection because they.
Yeah, I feel like she left at the end or something. You know, I'm not sure. I don't remember 100%, but she wasn't like at the funeral and stuff. Obviously, she didn't know any of them. You know what I mean? You know, so
yeah, I think her and her sister went on a sister retreat.
Was Nebula still alive?
Yeah, Nebula's still alive.
Okay, I didn't know. I just can't remember.
Yeah, I don't know. It's been a while.
It's been a while since Endgame.
Her so Gamora's Nebula.
I feel like we're focused too much on Endgame right now.
Yeah,
so, but everything adds up, man. It all adds up to what's going on. So, yeah, it's interesting. It really is interesting what they're how. Personally, I could not keep all these timelines and everything in line with things that you want to show. Like, there's so much because they still got to have Adam Warlock still needs to be introduced.
Like, didn't they tease him at the end of Guardians 2 or 1 or something?
I feel like he could potentially show. Do you think he could show up in this new Thor movie?
I don't know if Thor, but
next Guardians
3, yes, he probably,
or an Eternals. If there's an Eternals 2,
I think the new Thor movie is going to be making Natalie Portman or whatever,
Mighty Thor.
I think I'm remembering what happened to Nebula. The good Nebula got trapped in the past, but she was like dangling from the thing, and they were like using her mind to see the future events that happened. So then they replaced her with the bad Nebula.
Past, it connected with Nebula that was currently in that timeline that uploaded her memories. So then Thanos scanned her, and
old Nebula went forward. It's trying to sabotage everything. I don't remember if the bad Nebula died by Gamora.
Yeah, bad Nebula died, but the good Nebula is still there. No, because they came forward. They were at that.
Oh, in the ship, because the whole ship came forward, didn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And then remember, she was in the basement with Gamora and Nebula. Like, that's not, like, that's the bad Gamora. No, I'm the good
I don't
Gamora.
remember the scenes, but anyway, it's like,
that was the whole.
I have hope that some of these original Avengers and stuff may cameos and appearances, right? Not necessarily like being full-fledged movies. Maybe one or two, here and there, like as decent roles in them. But I would like to see like Black Widow come back. I don't feel like that Black Widow movie did her enough justice with how they kind of
Black
escorted
Widow,
her
I
out.
just fuck her. Like, let's just move on from her.
Okay. And then like Iron Man and like Captain America. Captain
No.
America, there's lots of possibilities you could do with that.
There's Iron Man's coming back. The whole Secret Wars and the
That's not gonna
Illuminati.
be, Robert Downey Jr. though. It's gonna be someone else. It's gonna be
It-
probably like
It could be somebody
Pepper
else.
or whatever.
It
Or
could be.
his daughter Morgan like grows up.
Or if they do Ironheart?
Yeah.
Then they'll have.
Yeah, that's a show coming out. It's
Well-
supposed to be. I think it's some chick that goes to like MIT or something that makes an Iron Man suit. I think that's what the.
Well, that
premise
could be
is.
the new Iron Man. Then.
I don't know.
Maybe it's Morgan Stark. I don't know who they hired, but maybe like it's in the future, in the 10 years from maybe that's why it's timed that way. It should be like a teenager, young 20s or something.
Yeah. It'd be, but an Iron Man will be there. We don't know who's going to play Iron Man, but Iron Man, it will be there.
So we got to get to the most important thing here, right? Fuck everything else. Like everything else, like okay, whatever happens, there's something that was dropped in this movie that is huge, and we know what this means. Okay, X-Men are official thing now in the MCU. Regardless of anything else, Professor X there as
they're in that multiverse. They're not necessarily in Earth 616, which is the MCU universe.
If every version of those people in all the universes exist when they go to sleep and dream, right? Like Professor X exists in all the other universes, right? Maybe not have his powers in all the other universes, but there's versions of Patrick Stewart's Professor X in all the other universes, right? That means that to get to this position where he is in the Illuminati, you would assume that he went through, like you said, it's like the animated series. That whole series of events has already happened, right? Like all the X-Men, everything that happened is happened, right? So that means that all those characters and everything that existed happened already, right? Which is another fuck up for me. Because
but you also have to remember that necessarily these characters, like, because Captain Marvel was the other Captain Marvel. Like, we've had two different Captain Marvels, so these characters don't have to be the same person to have the same powers, but they can be called the same thing.
That's true, right? But you can't be Professor Xavier, right? You could be like a hero name, right? But you can't be like a Professor Xavier and be a different person.
Yeah, I'm just saying,
You know
but
what I
they could
mean?
do it like a chick is Professor Xavier in the Earth 616.
Yeah, like Loki is a different, right. So they could do that. So we could have a different one. But I would think the age would be about the same.
Well, I mean,
well, the universe is on different time scales, so maybe
is the universe on different time scales for sure?
I would assume so.
I thought they were
They
all
can
on the
make up
time
whatever
scale
they
because
want.
all of the Lokis are like this. Well, no, that's not, because remember the one Loki was a
old
kid.
man Loki.
But that
and
Loki's
young
been,
kid.
but that young Loki was trapped there for a long time. So
Yeah.
he just got trapped in that time variant
Yeah,
area
but
when he
what
was a
about
kid.
the old man Loki though?
I don't know how to justify all this,
Exactly.
man. It's like it drives me crazy.
And that's the thing with the Loki series that shows you that each universe does not have to be the same timeline. So it could be our timeline, could be the younger timeline to what the 838 timeline was. So the X-Men are just starting, possibly,
Yeah.
like I said, like the reverse of House of M, and everyone that was in the blip, that if she cases the Earth, becomes mutants.
And the other aspect of this is we know time travel exists. So Professor X, even if he's the head of the Illuminati in that Earth, he may not be from that time either. He could have time traveled from the future to the past, or from the past to the future, right? Because
we know meaning, like, the universe could be on like different time scales with like the Celestials, how they work in cycles. Like maybe the Earth 838 is on like the 6th cycle, and the MCU universe that we know in 616 is on like the 3rd cycle.
and that's why the Internals movie I think plays a part as well, because each universe is a different, so they happen and birth at the different time. So we get different birth, time frames with the same character, but different universes.
Yeah, see, like Alvin
So,
says, like Loki is
well,
thousands of years old, so that's a bad example. All the Doctor Stranges were the same age, right? Like they were. All the Doctor Stranges were the same age. All the Wandas are the same age, right? She dreams of her kids and all these different universes. You know what I mean? Like,
maybe she's just dreaming of that specific moment. See,
possibly. Yeah.
Marvel tries to mind fuck you into thinking one thing, and then boom, they hit you with the left, and you're like, where the fuck did that
Yeah,
come from?
it's hard to keep track of too with time travel existing. Like we don't know 100% like where that Professor X is from. He could have been from the future, could have been from the past. Even if it wasn't quantum realm type time travel, it could have been Cable time traveling him. You know, like there's so many other possibilities. There's the Days of Future Past time travel guy as well. You know what I mean? Like, so who knows exactly? You could have had the events with the Phoenix, you know, kind of mess up shit, and then end up being in different kind of time periods and stuff. Because the Phoenix is like all powerful, and it seems like weird shit happened. You know what I mean? And with that too, like, who knows exactly, right? Everything, but I do know that they shouldn't have killed him so damn quick. That sucked. How? Okay, so what does this mean though? Like for X-Men, like, is that gonna this doesn't necessarily mean because Patrick Stewart is like, I mean, like no offense, but he's not getting any younger. You know what I mean? Like, and
Well, that
it's they gotta is James McAvoy potentially gonna be
yeah,
show
That's
up
why
at
I
some
was
point?
saying that they
I
would
think
do a
so.
different Professor Xavier.
I think
So
either
this
they're
was
gonna
just for the
bring
fans
McAvoy.
to show Patrick Stewart in the
Yeah,
yellow chair
Correct.
and just all that stuff, and like,
Yes.
hey everybody, look at this badass. He's in your yellow chair. Everything you
And
ever
that's
wanted,
why, like,
and boop, he's
uh,
dead.
the
He's
guy
the
that played
fan favorite.
Fantastic Four, Mr. Fantastic, like he may not necessarily be the one that we see in Earth 616.
I think I would hope so because
John is a good. John
hey,
Krasinski is
that is
good.
like a perfect casting in my opinion. You know, because John Krasinski just kind of seems like that smart guy. You know, like when he acts and stuff, but like he kind of fits the role of like Reed Richards really well. The question is, who's the
Mhm.
rest of the group, right?
Yeah. Thing is Chris Evans gonna be Human Torch?
No. Jessica Alba gonna be Sue
You
Storm.
know how funny that would be? How funny if he repraises Human Torch because he's not Captain America anymore. That would be hilarious.
That would be too confusing for.
That would be like a little jab, like a little ha ha ha.
So
Like maybe
who would be the
I
perfect
don't know.
castings for the rest of the Fantastic Four?
Fuck, I don't know. Get the Rock as the Thing.
The Rock is the Thing. That no, come on, that'd be funny. But I mean, honestly, like for the original casting was pretty damn good for the old Fantastic Four movies, even though they weren't that great. Like
Jessica Alba.
well, with the Thing, I forget the
Okay,
actor's
yeah.
name,
Michael
and then
Shield.
yeah, and then Chris Evans as like Human Torch was pretty cool. You know, I didn't necessarily mind the casting of the other Fantastic Four movie as much. It's just a bad movie, you know.
Yeah, it
But
just
all of them
wasn't.
seem too young too, kind of. You know what I mean?
Wasn't Human Torch, was that Michael B. Jordan?
Michael B.
Yeah, I
Jordan,
think
yeah.
so.
Yeah.
So is it going to be Killmonger and Human
No,
Torch?
so they won't cast. I don't
So-
think they'll cast him as Human Torch. But
No.
that would be funny if they
Like-
did have some kind of character reprise two different heroes in the MCU because they could make it feasible, right? Like
Yeah.
with the whole multiverse.
Yeah, in like
Yeah.
one universe, he's becomes Flaming Torch, and in the other universe, he becomes Killmonger.
Yeah. There you go.
Could very well.
But okay, so let's look at like the possibilities here. All right, so Fantastic Four movies coming out next year probably. So we're gonna get some answers. They already have to have had the casting.
It's filmed right now. It's being filmed right now.
Right. So we just haven't been revealed on who the cast is yet. I don't believe.
No.
I'm gonna look up
Human
rumors.
Torch is probably like the hardest one to cast, I would think.
Yeah, because it's kind of like the smart ass, like sarcastic, kind of cocky character, right?
And with the thing, like you just got to make a dude, and then you just make him a rock the whole fucking time. So
Yeah. MCU Theory explains Krasinski's future as Fantastic Four is Reed Richards. Okay. I don't know who's gonna. Oh, Terry Crews could play the Thing. This says. This is like I don't know. This is somebody.
No.
It says Rami Malek and talk. These are rumors. This is just a bunch of random rumors. Okay. John Krasinski will play Reed Richards. We know that already, right? So, Rami Malek is in talks to play the Silver Surfer. For those of you who don't know who Rami Malek is, he played Freddie Mercury in the Bohemian Rhapsody movie. I could see that. That wouldn't be horrible. Lena Headey will play Lucia von Bardas. And then another rumor that Norman Reedus would play the Silver Surfer. Another rumor that Terry Crews will play Ben Grimm, aka the Thing. I could see that. It seems like kind of like a typical casting there. People just kind of
is the Thing funny haha kind of character?
Yeah, Terry Crews could be a better actor than like just being funny haha, I think. But like sometimes
once the Thing grows, he gets kind of funny. But like early on, the Thing's kind of like depressed because he's like, I'm a fucking rock. But like later on, he gets
yeah.
But my junk is fucking hard all the time. I don't know what to do.
Then we got Zac Efron could play Johnny Storm, Human Torch. I could see that. Emily Blunt, Susan Storm, Invisible Woman. I could see that. Oh, here's a good one. David Harbour as the Thing. For those that don't know who David Harbour is, he's he played the Red Guardian. Also, he was in Stranger Things as Hopper. Another rumor: Keanu Reeves will have. I mean, there's all these fucking rumors that are like pointless because none of these are true. Oh, but here's a rumor that I like. Here's something that I like. Kevin Feige has met with Ewan McGregor, Millie Bobby Brown. I could see Millie Bobby Brown as Sue Storm, 100%.
Yeah.
Keanu Reeves, Himesh Patel, Colin Farrell, Jessica Chastain. I could also see her playing Sue Storm, and Henry Cavill for future MCU roles. Henry Cavill would definitely not be one of the Fantastic Four. But could he play potentially like Doctor Doom or some shit like that? Like, play like
Jasper,
a bad guy?
Take out the garbage after the podcast.
Well,
I don't know.
So many rumors, man. It's
some of those names, I'm like, no, why would like fucking Will Ferrell? No.
I was thinking Millie Bobby Brown, but I feel like she's too young.
Yeah, that's one thing. Like, she is a little young, right? So, and if you put her to opposite of John Krasinski, it'd be kind of a little awkward, right?
Yeah,
you like them young.
So, but yeah, Vic the Click said a good thing. Like, John Krasinski and Emily Blunt are married, right? And they also did the Quiet Place thing together. So,
I guess
Emily Blunt would make sense as Sue Storm. But isn't she come out as not a fan of Marvel movies and MCU?
Who's the one that plays Lois in the Superman DC?
I don't know.
Rachel McAdams, or that's not Rachel. That's
Amy.
In the Superman Lois show.
No, like in the movies.
Oh no, that's Amy something. No,
I feel like she would be all right as Invisible Woman.
Yeah, that could work. I forgot what's her name. Lois.
Amy Adams.
Is it Amy Adams? Lois actress.
Yeah, I think that's it.
Yeah, but she's a little bitchy.
Is she?
Yeah, she comes off bitchy. Like, good reporter, but not scientist. I don't think. She doesn't have that.
Well, she's like played lots of different roles. I mean, she's been in like rom-coms, and like all of this stuff. Like, is it Amy Adams?
And she comes off bitchy, anyways. I think it's just her. Nothing wrong with her.
Yeah, it's Amy Adams. Yeah, she could do it.
She's on that one. I think was it Amazon? Was that Amazon Prime? Or no, Hulu? The freaking.
I know the
She's
perfect
gonna
Sue
cut
Storm.
herself.
Let's go.
Who? Oh, the dog?
Herd turd.
No.
Yeah. She looks like Sue Storm. It's just going to be a Sue Storm that shits on beds. I mean, once she's done with this, once she's done with this trial, she's going to have lots of free time. You know,
Yeah, I don't think she's gonna work in Hollywood.
You can probably get her on the cheap. You know, she's had, she's going to be on the outs with DC. You know, they're not going to want her anymore. You know, so maybe you get Herd Turd, and is it? Do people call it Turd Herd or Herd Turd? I forget now. It was one of the two.
Turd Herd.
Turd Herd. Yeah, you get Turd Herd, and you make her Sue Storm,
and get Johnny Depp as like Dr. Doom.
Oh my god. No. Okay. And then he's like, "You're invisible to me," you know, and it's like, okay.
Anyway. And then he backsmacks her, backhands her. Like, hey, it's part of the movie.
No. Oh jeez. No, that took a little too far. There's like, all right, yeah, yeah. No, I'm kidding. Obviously, Amber Heard.
Reverse it on her, okay?
Yeah, no, thank you. Yeah, no, thank you to Amber Heard, but. She does look like a typical Sue Storm. I'm just gonna have to say, you know.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say bitch.
So Alvin says you think she's gonna win that case though. Off topic. Here's the thing. It's hard for somebody to win a defamation suit. Like honestly, like
defecation.
No. Yeah. And so as far as like everything going on with that, I would not be surprised if like they just don't. If Johnny Depp doesn't win, you know what I mean? However, regardless, what was attempted here to be achieved has been 100% done. Like Johnny Depp has regained his name and credibility, I believe, with a lot of
that's what all he wanted.
The public and the studios and stuff, because a lot of stuff was brought to the light. You know what I mean? That was like that was never revealed before. So that
shitting on the bed.
The purpose of him doing it, even if he doesn't win, it still served its purpose, right? Because I think he could potentially have a career again after this trial. Whereas beforehand, it was like people were staying away.
I will say, I went and saw the Fantastic Beasts: Secrets of Dumbledore, and man, that was a pile of turds. That was horrible.
Yeah, I didn't watch it. It never interested me.
It was bad. That's all. It was horrible.
Yeah,
because Johnny Depp was Grindelwald, and they changed actors because of all this. That's the only reason I bring it up.
Yeah,
and it threw everything off. It sucked.
All right. Psycho, I know that you were going into a deep dive rabbit hole on this whole MCU thing.
Not too much because we kind of touched on it a little bit, you know, throughout the episode. So, really, like I was saying, like the whole going down and really looking into what with Scarlet Witch and what he was, because I was, like I said, I was thinking Mephisto, but Chthon is the one character that keeps popping up with her because he's the one that gave her the powers. He's trying to get back, and a lot of what was happening kind of hinted at, you know, what she was doing could have been controlled if you look at it as Chthon could have used the children as a point of her getting to this Scarlet Witch phase where she was overly powered and being able tried to consume by chaos magic and then control her and come into that universe. So but the whole thing, like the invergence or incursion. God damn it! Why can I get that right? The incursion. That's a whole. That's like the time runs out. That's the whole thing with the Illuminati going into hiding, and because Avengers come out and say Iron Man and the Illuminati are enemies of Shield. They go back to Shield, so it's setting up a lot of that storyline. So we'll get a lot of
that Marvel mobile game. I think it's called Marvel Incursions. That's kind of what this story is, because it's just like all the worlds coming together to fight. So you see in that game, there's like 20 different Iron Mans and shit.
Yeah, but this will be later. This is not anytime soon. This is later because the incursion happens and then Secret Wars, which is like the battle planet they go to, and then because there's like a ring in Central Park, and when they go, they get brought to a different dimension into the battle. What is it? Battle mode? Battle. Where the fuck is it? Sorry. Battle World. Ooh, fucking original name. Battle World. And that's where the Secret Wars. Galactus is there. I mean, everybody's fucking there from the Marvel Universe fighting. So that is possibly why people probably heard Galactus is going to be the main villain. But, Secret Wars could be the end, the peak, or where this goes to Secret Wars, and then Galactus could be another baddie for another time. But look up Secret Wars. Look up Time Runs Out. I wish I could fucking put this in chat because I can't, but I'll put it in your DM, Mav. You guys can read this if you want. But no, it's interesting.
It's just okay. There it is.
Time runs out. Time. Yeah, that's Time Runs Out, and I can't have the YouTube up, and because my computer will fucking die.
So
it sucks.
If this says protagonists involved with this is Avengers, the Illuminati, Children of the Sun, Gardeners, Sunspots, Avengers. See, one thing, Vic, I wondered just a hypothesis on this, right? You said you hope she was not controlled. That takes away from the pain she felt when losing the kids and husband. Knows she did it herself and then came to it at the end, makes it more of an impact. Well, I agree, but like, what if like the whole thing to begin with was influenced and controlled, right? Like maybe she was set up for that false reality and those kids and all those things, and she still feels the same way about all of that happened, and all of it was a long-term goal of putting her in this position and able to get her to do the bidding of the Darkhold, right? Because you're trying to influence her along that path. Now, regardless of if it was set up by somebody else and implanted in her head or whatever to begin with, the same result of her feeling that way is real, right?
Well, she didn't lose her kids because she didn't have any kids in this universe.
Correct. Yeah, and that's the whole thing.
Well,
like, it's all
she
up in her. She made them
right. She made them
magic.
To her, they were real, right? Like
in the comics, there were Mephisto's soul shards that were created Billy and Tommy.
Yeah, I think. So regardless of like
kids.
how they showed up, in her line was like, "Isn't that how what every mother does, or whatever?" Like when talking about like making the kids from magic or whatever, you know what I mean? Like it's to her, it doesn't matter, how they were made; they were still real. So the loss is still the same, right? Like, um, she feels it the same as like if she had gave birth to them. You know what I mean? Like losing those kids, right? The timeline was sped up dramatically, right? Um, but to her, she experienced all those years. You know what I
Well,
mean?
to me, what I
So
got out of it was like the reason she snapped out of it was because she started fighting in front of the kids, and she's like, "Oh no, I've become a monster to my own kids." You know, it's like that's
right,
what brought her out of it.
yeah, that's
Like,
what brought her.
Yeah.
That's what brought
yeah,
her at the end of the movie. You know, like her kids seeing that, being scared of her, since snapped her into reality that okay, I'm like becoming the monster that um to them, and it's not right. What I'm doing is not right. And that's what like America Chavez tried to show her. That's what Doctor Strange kept trying to tell her. And then when she got put in that position, she saw it within them and realized she was doing the wrong thing. That's why at the end of the movie she ended up doing the right thing, but it doesn't change the fact of how much loss she felt. Or like, I think, right?
Yeah.
I
yeah.
think that like there could potentially been a seed planted or something to manipulate all of this course to try and put her in that position. We don't know that for sure, right? But it's a possibility, right? If she was manipulated to begin with to end up creating those kids.
Yes, that she wouldn't know that that this was actually happening. You know what I'm saying? Because the chaos magic, that's her. She believes it's her powers, but it's not hers. So that's I think when she's like kind of like was going overboard and like kind of snapped at that moment with the kids. I think that's like she was like, "Whoa, what the fuck? I would not be like this." But she took it as that she just got consumed by her kids, that she just thought that's what it was, why she just wanted her kids back. But then could be at a later point her realizing there was another force causing this, and that
Well, that's the dark hole
we're
that takes over your mind or
Right, the
whatever. And
Darkhold
and
was
yeah,
yeah,
and that's where we could lead up to with her and whatever else that they're how they're gonna play that out, how they're gonna bring Cathon into this, and if they do,
Well, see,
how they're gonna
the
set
other
that up.
aspect of this, I forget exactly what transpired in WandaVision, when Agatha came in, right? Was she there to begin with, or did she go there because
Yeah,
they sensed the magic that was happening there, right?
she was there in the black and whites. So yeah, from the beginning, because
So,
remember she was in the black and white, but she was in the foreground.
right.
So she noticed that that there was this magic, chaos magic being created, and she came. So in the first episode, we didn't really see her; she was just in the foreground. And then I think in the second episode forward, that's when she came
Yeah.
into like
yeah, they were
I
in like
feel
more
the
of a
like
RV, like
presence.
studying Wanda. It was like, what the hell's going on with her?
yeah, I feel
Right?
like we need to I want to go back and watch WandaVision now, right? To see because like if Agatha's there from the very beginning, like why? Like obviously, and the Darkhold was in that same town, right?
Mhm.
Like because that's where I mean,
Agatha had it.
yeah. So maybe that was just maybe she was being followed, or you know what I mean, and like manipulated from the get go, right? Like who knows, you know?
Yeah,
Like
she could have been putting spells on the Wanda from the very beginning, and Agatha could be playing out for KhAoS and doing his bidding, and that's why she's like, "Do you know what you just did?" And like, really not like, like, do you understand what is going to be happening now because of what you've just unleashed? So there's a lot of little like seeds being planted.
Or whoever's in control of the Darkhold was trying to get the Darkhold to Wanda because they thought that the Darkhold would be
That'd be
stronger for her than.
that also could be true. That because yeah, we'll see. We'll see where all this comes out, if it pans out. We don't know,
yeah,
because that'd be a
there's
lot.
more to tell with this for sure. You know what I mean? Like
100%.
yeah, this is going to set up a lot. This is setting up the supernatural aspect. It's setting up interdimensional, or sorry, inter universal travel now with America Chavez, right? so they can, if they have to go somewhere for a short time, they can, right? They got to be careful not to cause any incursions. So now we got the dimensional travel, we have the time aspect, and the whole time, um, multiple threads going out of whack, right? With Kang,
Yep.
right? And Loki now taking control of that, and we also
Kang
have,
Wars.
and we also have the inter-universal travel, right? So interdimensional time and dimensional
Universe.
is all separate aspects and realms. Because I don't know if that, like, the
the astral plane
like
stuff?
the astral plane, is that a different dimension, or is that a different like what are the planes?
Same
Where do
dimension, different realm. Yeah, I get it.
yeah,
It's
like
a
where
different plane of
where
existence.
exactly, like where does that flow into it now as well? Because I think that is also adding into those supernatural, like gods and monsters type aspect things that we're gonna get, right? So man, it's like so many. That was the whole start of this whole saga.
Yeah, don't do mushrooms and try to make sense
Yeah.
of all this.
I mean, the whole start of this saga was setting up all of these open threads, right? All of these open threads are now possible. It's not just one, because the only one we had open before was time. Now it's all of these. And we saw with the start of this saga, we saw the effect that it has on time with the time variants and the time variant cops and all that stuff, right? And now we see interdimensional, planes, and universal travel, right? So, man, who knows what the hell is going to happen for the rest of the MCU, but again, all that matters is X-Men exist, so I'm happy. I do hope they figure out how to make that work, though, because I don't want the universe going forward to be in a time where all the other shit has already happened. I want to see the true origins and
see, that's the
full
thing with
story of X-Men.
We'll just get X-Men, but like the Thanos event will already happen. The X-Men will have missed out on that. Like, but they'll still have a lot of other events because I mean, there's like thousands of comic stories they can tell, so it's like not that big.
Yeah, but like
they missed one event.
X-Men living in a world that all this other interdimensional and all this stuff travels to begin with in the MCU is kind of weird to me. Like, because it was
I get it.
It's kind of
it was on Earth,
right? And X-Men, it was on Earth, and it was grounded, and it grew over time as well, right? With more powerful mutants and all this stuff introduced throughout the series. And I kind of I almost feel like a part of me wants like X-Men to exist separately for a while and then be introduced and emergent in some kind of convergence later on. Because I don't know how you can respect everything involved with that and just throw them into all the chaos and shit that's going on now.
Or right? I mean, I guess you could be like, the X-Men have just been watching the whole time and like taking care of. They've been the friendly neighborhood X-Men instead of the fucking planetary X-Men, and just like kind of doing neighborhood shit. Like they've been here this whole time. You just never heard of them.
Yeah, and then it's kind of like that kind of takes down the importance of some of their powers too. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know, like, you know, Professor X is sitting there monitoring the world with his mind, you know?
Maybe he's putting together a team.
Yeah.
See, and that's how they could do that. They could set it up that way.
Right. Alvin says he didn't think most movies are going to be this out there. Most will probably be more grounded. Well, Spider-Man No Way From Home was really fucking out there. This movie's out there. Yeah. Shang-Chi also had like interdimensional shit.
Yeah.
Right? Eternals had
now, was that another plane?
No, because
they said dimensions.
They were real people.
They said dimensions.
They were real people.
Yeah.
On Shang-Chi?
Yeah, they said dimensions there.
Okay.
And like Ta Lo is like in a different dimension or something itself.
Okay.
So that like
you could go through it with
the bamboo forest.
Yeah, with the Bandai forest.
Bamboo.
Bamboo.
Did you say
Said-
Bandai?
The
Said
bamboo.
bamboo.
So we got Shang-Chi had all that shit. Eternals had like Celestials, like creating worlds,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, they showed the
Universe.
universe was on different cycles.
Right. And then we have fucking hell. What was the next movie? Like
Black
After
Widow
this?
was before Eternals, I think.
Yeah, Black Widow didn't really expand
Yeah.
too
Black
much,
Widow was just there for Scarlett Johansson.
which they didn't do her justice in that movie anyway.
Like,
so it's like,
let's give her a movie so she can shut the fuck up. No, just kidding. Just kidding. folks.
I don't think that
I
was
don't
the
need-
case.
No.
But Black Widow. Then we had what was next? Shang-Chi was next after Black Widow. And then the Loki
that was
show.
before.
The Loki show had all that stuff, right? Again, like Black Widow, the Captain America show, when Winter Soldier the Falcon and the Winter Soldier didn't really have anything expanding too much, right?
No.
Just that there's more
Superhumans.
superhero
Yeah.
the serum that created them. That's
Right,
out there.
and there's more, and there was several superhumans now, right,
Yeah.
in that show.
Correct.
And that's where you get like Sentry possibly, because he was made in the 60s out of an advanced super serum, and he's like a
Yeah.
Superman character.
So yeah, what had happened if you gave a superhero, somebody that already has these abilities, that serum?
I don't know. I don't know if it enhances superhumans.
What if you gave a mutant that?
Oh, if you gave us a
That's
mutant,
when
it
you end
will-
up with like Strong Guy.
Yeah, it's the thought,
Colossus, the superhuman strength that then encases him. His mutant power is encasing himself in
Metal.
titanium. So, shit like that.
Anyway, lots of possibilities, man. Again, great movie, Doctor Strange, Multiverse of Madness. Opens up another can of worms. Has a great story to be told in this movie. Some like little missteps here and there, I think, but man, it was really cool. So final thoughts on it from anyone? Do you have any hopes for this, for Wanda or Doctor Strange after this?
Oh, Dormammu rematch possibly, or however that's going to take place. We'll just have to see how the next Doctor Strange movie goes, and we'll get to meet his wife, or soon-to-be wife, maybe.
Yeah.
So that should be
Yeah.
fun with all the mystical powers they possess.
Yeah, and then it also introduces Inhumans. So how did they bring into this?
Was that an
Is that
introduction of
show's
Inhumans?
stretch?
Is that what KhAos is from, or like?
She's just
Clea and
I don't think
Bullet.
she's from Inhumans. I think
Black
no.
Bolt.
Black Bolt
Black-
was from
yeah.
Inhumans for sure.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So that does set that
So
up.
Black Bolt set that up. Clea was that?
I think she's
I
just
thought
like
she-
from the
she's-
Strange universe, like the Doctor Strange.
Yeah,
comics
she's
and stuff.
just her uncle's Dormammu, so she's
Yeah.
like just a dimensional
sad.
being.
Okay. Okay, I just thought that she was part of Inhuman. I never watched the Inhuman show.
And see, the
watched
thing is, that's
5
the
minutes of
Agents
it
of
and it was-
Shield. It technically exists in MCU, so like, where are all those? Like, that's the mutants. It's just
Yeah.
no.
Are they making that canon? Is that the one show that they said is not canon, or maybe it's?
Well,
I
that
don't know.
I thought it was canon. It had Coulson and shit in it and stuff.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Is it? I think there
I'm
was
pretty sure it's
one thing
canon.
they said is not going to be canon. I can't remember what it was, but maybe.
But the same guy
I
that played
think-
Black Bolt in the movie is the same one that played Black Bolt in that show.
Right.
Yeah, but the
Man, that was still badass.
movie,
but
he
it's
was
had blue.
more comic book likeness, and that just shows you that Marvel is willing to go with the comic book variant of the character. So they can also play that too. They can also play a comic book variant. We saw that with Professor Xavier. We saw that with Black Bolt. They could do different variants of characters in different universes
Yeah.
or dimensions with alternate costumes as well.
And
Like,
we-
this one's exactly like the comic book. That must be a different universe.
And we still
I
have
guess
like
that show would have to be canon because they said all the Thor people come over in that show for a couple episodes.
Nick
Give me
Fury's
mine.
still out there on a scroll ship still too. Like the whole scroll time thing is scroll thing's happening.
Yeah,
like,
that's Secret Invasion.
Yeah,
So
it's gonna be
that TV
insane.
show is gonna happen too.
Yep. Anyway,
there's so much.
All right, guys. Well, one other thing. Did y'all see the Miss Marvel
the
trailer?
teaser trailer? Yeah.
It didn't look bad.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like it's whatever.
I think it's going to be kind of more of a teenage show instead of what we normally have.
They did say that her powers are a little different than the comics because of stuff that's specific to the MCU. So
she's not like as stretchy. She has more like magical powers in this, it seems like.
Right. So I'm curious where they're gonna make that go, because it seems like for strategic purpose, right?
Yeah, it's probably like extension magical. Like instead of her arm stretching, it's like a magical force reaching out that we can visibly see and grab something.
Kind of like Green Lantern almost, like
Green Lantern. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So I think we're gonna get her, America Chavez, and some other young characters are going to be introduced probably in some kind of a Young Avengers type thing eventually.
Yeah, She-Hulk's in it, and then Billy and Tommy's in it.
Billy and Tommy, as the age they are now, or maybe in the future? Because I don't want to see those little kids.
No,
in a
teenagers. They're older. They're teenagers. Like, 18, 19.
So they got to progress like 10 years forward for that. And they still got to also like
just get a new kid actor.
They're magic, so they could be older quick. We saw that.
Yeah, it's true.
We saw on the TV show.
That doesn't.
It went from baby into fucking little kids and like.
But they got to come from another universe now. They can't come from their existing universe. They got to grab them from another universe. So
we'll see.
So maybe hypothetically, Young Avengers, right? Something's happening on this other Earth. We need to go there. Oh my God, right? And the America Chavez and the other, because they're teenagers think they're invincible. Nothing's gonna happen. They think they can save the day without any kind of.
If they think that after American Chavez watched 6 superheroes get cut in half by WandaVision, they need to
well, her and maybe Miss Marvel and maybe like Yelena. Is kind of a little bit younger. She's not too young, but like maybe
she's
Yelena.
Like, by the way, last time I traveled the universe, I watched 6 of the best heroes just die instantly. So good luck.
And maybe like, how about this, right? Not what's Peter Parker's friend?
Ned.
Yeah, Ned. Remember he could use the sling thing, right? So maybe he's been training, and maybe he
died in the movie. Maybe he was one of the.
He could have. Maybe it's just kind of the extra on that field where Wanda killed everybody. Yeah, he could have been. Now maybe she turned him into that bison head guy, the cow head guy. Maybe that was Ned. Spell went wrong, But yeah, I could see like Ned and them. Kind of like all get together and be like, hey, let's go save the world and save the universe and go into interdimensional travel on a show, and maybe they would run into Billy and Tommy, who had already had
Billy and Ted?
Billy, whatever their names are. Wanda's fake kids in another universe that have had that magic 18th birthday or something like that, or 16th birthday, whatever, Hypothetically.
Yeah, that's pretty badass.
Huh?
Oh, no. I put it in Fun Pop. Somebody put the Captain America, The Last Mission TV show.
I think that's fake.
No, it is fake, but how fucking awesome that would be. Show us what happened. And that would also explain, a lot of little things. Like what happened with Peggy. Does she become...
She grew old and died in his hands in the Civil War.
In Civil War, but what happens if he decides, like, hey, you know what? You get the serum, not me. And then she becomes Captain Britain. Like shit like that. Like, because he didn't look very buff when he came back when he was old, did he? He looked like a normal old guy.
Well, he stopped working out. He became 80 years old. He's like,
He's Captain America. He doesn't grow old like that, man. You know? I don't know.
It's like
It was really cool.
this
And then he's just
shots are
looking at
just
his
like
limp body.
screenshots of the movies with like they just put like him in like an Ant-Man traveler suit, like Avengers traveling suit there. It's like that's funny. All right. Anyway, guys, we're gonna get out of here. Psycho, where can everybody find you, bro?
Yep. Thanks, chat. You guys are awesome. Yeah, you guys can find me everywhere at Psychonauts on social media. And you can find me here Wednesdays at 7 o'clock and Fridays with amazing group of people along with Jasper and Mev on Xbox Ultimate, where we have some fun and talk Xbox news, gaming, and whatever else we decide to talk about, like those stale ass animal crackers sitting behind Mev, things like that.
And Jasper the realist. What about my animal crackers, man?
You can check me out at Lord Jasper on Twitter, Lord Master Jasper on YouTube. FSP Monday, 10 o'clock p.m. Eastern. Fun Pop is Wednesday, 7 p.m. Eastern. Xbox Ultimate Fridays, 9 p.m. Eastern. And I'll be on the Division 2 tonight. And check out Halo at 3 a.m. in like 6 hours or whatever it is from now. So that's what I'll be up to.
Right on. So everybody check out PM in the PM tomorrow. Pong and I are going to deep dive on some shit. I don't know what yet, but it's going to be fun.
7 p.m. Eastern.
Yes, 7 p.m. Eastern time. And Friday's Xbox Ultimate at 9 p.m. Eastern. We're going to have a blast. And Mondays, like Jasper said, is FSP at 10 p.m. Eastern. And back here Wednesdays for Fun Pop. We'll have some even more stuff to talk about. What comes out the next week? Anything?
Obi-Wan?
No, that's
week
2
after.
weeks. That's like 26.
You know, we will have another episode of Halo.
I thought it was the 24th, motherfucker.
I'm hoping we have a good episode of Halo. Last week's was I think last week took a good step forward for like that storyline, but like the whole episode was that storyline. I hope it's done now, and now we just see how it ties in. Right?
Can we just glass that planet already?
So long to Madrigal.
I just don't. If they gave us half of her story and then half of Chief, that episode would have been fucking awesome.
Chief was literally in that episode for like 3 seconds.
Yeah, I feel like here's the thing.
It was a dream too.
Here's the thing. Out of all the episodes following that, Quan Ha, that's her name, right? Quan Ha. Like out of all of them following her, this was the best one of those. Yeah. But
her story,
her story. Because it finally gave us answers as to why the fuck she's even in any of these shows to begin with, right?
But it still didn't really even matter because it's like her ancestors are just chosen people. It's like, what the fuck?
Yeah, it's interesting. It's interesting that there's more there that we find out that how she is somehow there's a tie to her and Chief is supposed to happen, and you know all this stuff. I don't know. The spoiler alert, I guess again. But anyway, I think that it's going to be really cool to finally see that. Now I'm hoping we see it all from Chief's perspective going forward, right?
I better fucking hope so.
Yeah, and you know, I think these next 2 episodes are gonna be
magical,
pretty epic.
Yeah.
So can't
you
wait.
Would think so, but they've blown a lot of their budget already.
Well, they got it approved for season 2. So yeah, and also this show has been announced that it's a huge success for them. So I could imagine. I think Pablo Schreiber really likes the role and likes the show as well. He's constantly tweeting about it. By the way, speaking of shows, I gotta say get this out before we leave.
Oh, Winning Time! I finished it, bro.
Yeah, do you like it?
Oh my god!
Oh my goodness, we're talking about this again.
Did you like Winning Time?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, it was good.
Fucking great show, right?
Good.
Like
it was good, dude. I was binge watching it. That's
one of the best shows I've seen in years, honestly. Like Winning Time is, especially if you're a basketball fan or a sports guy, like watch Winning Time. Like if you're like a fan of basketball, especially, and are familiar with the history of it, oh my god, like absolutely insane. Even if you're not, it's still an enjoyable watch. But yeah,
it is.
Great damn
It's
show.
really good.
Jasper, you need to watch it one time. There's some
It's
scenes that might make you a little uncomfortable at times. However,
yeah.
it's a great watch.
But I like how they like break that fourth wall
Yeah.
and like talk to you. Like, listen, I'm gonna tell this motherfucker how it is.
So interesting story with Winning Time, right? And Kate, or if you like eating good, Kate says. Interesting story about this.
Real good.
And Kate told me this because it came out like in interviews and stuff that originally set to play Dr. Jerry Buss was not John C. Reilly. It was supposed to be Michael Shannon. He's another great actor. We've seen him in lots of different things. And he left the role due to creative differences because he didn't like breaking the fourth wall. He thought it threw him off and stuff. He didn't really like that. So then Will Ferrell really wanted the role. Right? Will Ferrell really, really wanted the role, and he was friends with the people making the movie. No, Will Ferrell's not in it. Will Ferrell really, really, really wanted the role of Dr. Jerry Buss. And, Will Ferrell's like a sports nut and stuff too, right? And like he wanted that role really bad. And his friend, I forget the name of the producer, director, whoever it is that's mainly responsible for it, the casting, thought that he wasn't the right decision and called Will Ferrell's friend, John C. Reilly, offered the role to John C. Reilly, right? John C. Reilly and Will Ferrell like best buds, step brothers, all this stuff. So I agree. John C. Reilly was a freaking perfect casting for Dr. Jerry Buss. I am happy as hell that Michael Shannon left because you could not get a better casting for Dr. Jerry Buss. And this movie is like amazing. John C. Reilly is like perfect, dude. And but anyway, John C. Reilly like called Will Ferrell, was like, "Hey, dude, like they offered me this role, right?" And so supposedly, like Will Ferrell was so upset, like he ended his friendship with the other guy, well, not with John C. Reilly, but with like the director, Adam something.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So anyway, that was like stories. I don't know how much of it's true. Take it with a grain of salt, but it was on the internet, so it has to be true, right? Anyway, but yeah, great show. The guy that they cast to play Magic Johnson,
Jerry West.
Jerry West is fucking hilarious. Another thing is Jerry West absolutely hates this version of him on screen. But Jerry West's character is fucking hilarious, dude. I love it. He's one of the best characters I've ever seen on a show. Like, just it's fucking
funny. He talked so much shit, and then it's like, oh yeah, no, yeah, I was with you 100%. And then like the scenes before is like, fuck this motherfucker. You just know what the fuck he's doing.
Yeah. God, man, Jerry West in that show is great, dude. That actor is amazing portraying that character. It's freaking hilarious, dude. It's freaking hilarious.
Really,
and it showcase. I mean, these are exaggerations of these people. You know what I mean? Like
a little bit, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, but like the fact of just grabbing that character that we can just imagine it's fucking epic, man. It's so great.
But Larry Bird is just like stone face, like
yeah,
I don't kick your ass, boy.
Yeah, it's great, dude.
Cracking a Budweiser.
This is like a movie made about people, and I can't even believe that the actual Lakers jerseys and all this stuff are actually in the show, and they're able to use real names, because it's like I can't imagine anybody involved that this story is being told about would approve this. You know what I mean? And that's what makes it so good.
It's truthful, but with some far-fetched things that makes it like
entertaining.
Is it?
Yeah, exactly. It's like an exaggeration of true events is what I'm kind of getting
exactly
from it, right? An exaggeration of the personalities, exaggeration of what happened, exaggeration of the stories. Everything is just like, but it makes for such a freaking amazing watch, dude. And the way they make it look like it's in the 80s, especially with some of those like scenes, like I feel like I'm watching an 80s like Pepsi commercial at times or something like that. Like,
dude,
it's crazy.
It was filmed awesomely. It was it was really put on. It was really, really good.
Yeah, that show for me is like 9.5 out of 10. Like I didn't like necessarily the way the last episode kind of like I felt like it could have been like more in the last episode. However, like man, that show is so good. I forgot what. Okay. So there's a show that started on Hulu.
Oh,
called Candy. Right.
I heard.
You heard about that show?
Is it? Do you like it?
So it's like a 6-episode premiere thing, or a 6-episode thing, and it's like an episode a day, right? So every night right now there's a new episode, and we started watching the first episode, and we realized the setting is in this town that we live in. Yeah. Like, we live in the town that the show is based on. It wasn't actually filmed here. It was filmed somewhere else, but it's based on our town that we live in, like, right now. It's this little... we don't even like this town, honestly. Like, we moved here, like, a few years ago, and it's, like, okay, you know, but not like what we're used to, like, where we lived. So we moved here, and, like, I was kind of getting these vibes. I'm like, man, they're, like... This is, like, my childhood, the way that people are talking, and the way people are acting, and, like, the way they're mentioning all this stuff, and then we realize, like, they keep saying the name of our town. Like, oh my god, this is actually about our little shit town that we live in, and the story is about, like, an axe murder of, like, a with an affair and all this stuff. You know what I mean? It's absolutely crazy, and it's a true story.
And it's what?
Yeah, it's set in, like, the 80s.
Oh my god.
Yeah, it's a little town in Texas, right? Well,
that's why you got the house on the cheap, right?
Like, when this story took place, like, this town that we live in now, that is more of a suburb of Dallas, was more separated at that time, right? And more of, like, a little town. It's grown significantly over the years, you know? So, like, what used to be this little, like, town that was outside of Dallas is now, like, kind of part of it. It's grown into be part of it. So it's kind of like they've got the setting right and everything for this. It's freaking crazy, and it actually happened. Yeah, yeah. It's called Wiley. Town is called Wiley.
Candy. So
yeah, the Candy.
I gotta watch.
It's Jessica Biel, right? And Pablo Schreiber is in it.
Oh no shit.
Master Chief is in it. And
is he eating good?
Well, there's scenes in it, you know, where he is, like, having, you know, some fun, like, you know what I mean? He plays a completely different character in this, obviously, right? I mean, like,
so he doesn't, like, accidentally call me Chief. Oh fuck.
No, I mean, he plays, like, kind of like a dorky, like husband, you know, that's like a typical everyday guy from, like, the 80s. I mean, but, like, he shows his acting range to go from Master Chief to this guy that he's playing on Candy. Absolutely crazy. So shout out to Pablo Schreiber for Candy. And the other thing I'll add to this is, like, this shows Jessica Biel's, like, actually really talented as well, because she also was responsible for this other show that me and Kate liked a lot. That had I think it was Bill Pullman was in it, or I can't remember the name of the show. But
she was in 18.
Yeah, I mean, she was, like, actually directed these shows. This show.
It's a good thing you didn't say Waco.
Yeah, wait, yeah, I'm not from Waco. I'm very familiar with Waco. I used to go there a lot, actually, but I used to attend this weird church that was there back in the day. No,
wow.
No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
Sinner. Yeah, the show is called Sinner, and I think it was on Hulu as well, or maybe it's on Paramount Plus or something. Yeah, it has Bill Pullman, and he plays, like, a detective named Harry something. And he, like, in the first season, she's, like, the main person, and then every season after, it tells a different story following this detective. But yeah, like, she did a really good job with that show, and now she was cast as, like, the lead in this show, completely different, like, not what you'd expect from Jessica Biel at all, right? Like, awesome show so far. So watch, if you like weird, like, 80s set piece movies based on axe murders and affairs, watch Candy. If you like detective shows, watch Sinner. So shout out to Jessica Biel for doing a good job on that stuff. But anyway, Pablo Schreiber maybe has some more Master Cheeks in him in this show as well. So,
oh, he's just putting his cheeks everywhere, then, is he?
Or maybe this one's more Master Briefs. Master Briefs. Yeah. Yep.
All right.
Okay, we'll end it on there. All right. It's not really a funny show, Gogol. Not like Candy's not really. I mean, it has funny aspects to it just because of how fucked up these people are.
It's funny. Someone got axe murdered in our town.
Did I just shout out Jessica Biel? Yeah, like the show, like, acting chops and directing on the other show. Like,
I'll give her a shout out.
Oh, come on.
What's up, Jessica?
Jeez. But anyway, guys, that's gonna do it. Did y'all both do your outros? I think we all did it. Yeah.
Yeah, we did.
Anyway, okay.
Yeah.
Have a good one,
got on
everybody.
a little winning time tangent.
Yeah. Jasper, watch Winning Time. You won't be disappointed.
Yeah.
Bye.
Later, everybody.
Bye.
Not in this show.
Fun Pop. Fun Pop.